I want to give a gigantic shout out to Shadow Corp, the YouTube channel. I'm gonna bring up the video that. Boom! Look it. We're gonna bring it up on screen. Boom! Right there. This video right here. And you see my little 528 hertz because I was meditating. It is 7 in the morning, and it feels great to be up right now. I'm telling you, when I was saying I'm entering 2023 with a whole new, never doubting myself, God energy, we're here, and you need to get on this wave. Reality, everything you see, and imagination are not separate, and you can tell if you just start paying attention to the things that happen to you in your life. You know, one of the most beautiful things that I've experienced so far in the last year, I really think, well, besides my YouTube channel, because it's been sick with this one, but my Twitch live streams, you can literally see things that I call happen there live. Like it's funny because I find myself at some points literally knowing you should just live in your imagination, because when you live in your imagination, you found the core. Like, you literally found the core of what reality is. This whole system was someone's imagination. The system that's got people enslaved right now was someone's imagination, believe it or not. It's so insane. Someone believed the world where almost like shadows run the fucking world. Like, no one truly knows what's going on. And I'm sorry, this is getting off topic a little bit, but we're gonna come back. But it's like they got some people, let's say that. They got the masses so confused that people just blame it on like Illuminati or secret societies. They got you so ignorant that you are just as powerful as these people. That's the point of keeping everybody asleep. And it's the funniest thing. Now, I'm not saying that to overthrow them or anyways. I think they're very nice people. That's how we save my channel. No, but the funny thing is look, they know the point is I believe everything is mostly distraction, and this is very evident when you start understanding the law of assumption. It truly is. There is no point for you to be distracted by the affairs of the world. If you know deeply within your heart that you are a good person, you care, whatever a good person that, whatever you define good and bad as, but, trying to be the best person you are. And you don't try, you just be. But I want to speak for myself, but also separate myself. So, you're trying to be a good person, all that. If you know that, do not involve yourself with the affairs of the world. Make the world brighter where you step. You have to be the bright light where you step. That's it. Listen, and I want to come back to this at the end of the video, but let's just get into the assumption part. I'm going to bring y'all more stories of when I was using the law of assumption during school and was not aware of it. Like, it's so crazy. At one point in time, right? So I was when I was watching Shadow Corp's video, and the person uses like a robotic voice, but during the video they were talking about times that I haven't lived your life, and I don't want to quote the video exactly, but literally one of the parts was, I didn't live your life, but you can call moments in your life where you thought about someone, where you thought about an event, where you did something, and you lived in your imagination for even that split moment. And this part wasn't in there, but it's literally even a split moment, because what matters is not the time, because time is an illusion. It's the amount of emotion felt during that event that you imagine in your head that either brings it quicker or not quicker. But it brings it. And what's funny is, I'll come to this because I don't want to admit this yet in the beginning, because I hate that I fucking show people how it works and they use. We'll get that in a little bit, but the point is Shadow Corp was saying, like, I did not live your life, but you can call these moments. And I'm going to tell you from my personal experience, the same legit thing has happened to literally someone I haven't seen. So there was this girl, we'll just call her Jay, and I would say when I was younger, she was like one of my first super real crushes. And what's funny is it was insane, and still to this day I don't understand how this happened. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, they got the algorithms feeding off my brain, and in a way that's very true. But to bring it to you in this way, you only know it can be nothing short of something divine, which is within you. But I remember when I got to, what was it? I think it was like my second year of high school. This girl, like, it was awesome. During middle school, I was really not really bad in math, but I was struggling to understand it because I would use different formulas. This just shows you the power of the mind, and still get the same answer. But it wasn't the way that they wanted you to do it, which is how the world works most of the time. And it's like, bro, that's one of the biggest traps. You got to do it your own way. And it's authenticity. But I wanted to learn it the school way, just to literally pass the shit. I was so at the point where I was like, yo, I just need to feel like I can do this. And this specific girl that I had a crush on, there was like multiple nights where we video called each other, and she was like almost like being like a tutor for me, and we were going through it. And like over time we like, felt each other and blah blah blah. And I felt like during that time that was one of my most real connections with somebody, because I mostly just kept to myself. I'm a gamer, nerd, blah blah blah, staying to myself. And years later, just out of nowhere, a blip of her popped up in my head, and I'm like, yo, I wonder how Jay is doing. I was, damn, like, only if I could see her again. She's just like so cute and everything. And it was like her energy too. It was just like we flowed so well. And guys, ladies and gents, like, when you meet certain people in your path, you know for sure that your life is designed to meet the people you're meant to meet. But anyways, after literally thinking about her that day, I think it was during school or something when I was in math, but I was like, damn, I'm like so cracked in math. I was so nice in math. And we're gonna get into this a second assumption with that. But so during the day, I thought about that because I was in math. And then like after school, I remember just scrolling on fucking Instagram or something, and this is in Shadow Corp's video. Her fucking profile pops up. I did not try to search her name, nothing. And I got so freaked out because I was like, I didn't even know this girl used social media, because I was never able to find her after that. Because I did look, I think I think it was like when I ended up moving out of the town that we both lived in, I ended up looking, and I was like, nah, she's gone with the wind, because like I left now. And I never thought. But when it re-popped up, put my phone silent. When the feeling re-popped up in my mind, I was like, damn, but I could never, and at the time, I don't even think I remembered her name. And it was crazy because a picture of her popped up on my feed, and I was like, there is no fucking way, bruh. No fucking way. And I remember it too. It was like fucking, I forgot where it was, bruh. But I just remember the picture. Like, it has never left my mind because it was so spooky. And I was like, what is this? Like, what the fuck? And I never knew about the law of assumption, and I never knew about those things. But the law of assumption also played into how my math got better, because I became like a math genius for the level that I required. Like, I basically could have took higher math if I wanted to. And I was like, bro, it was gone with the wind too. Like, even remembering how I got this good at the math, and it was insane. But I put the puzzle pieces to get better. It's like I naturally aligned with it. I was like, in my mind, I seen myself just acing math. Got someone like her to help me. It was awesome. And it was just like, it's like weird. It was like, I hate asking for help too. And I was like, wow, but this version of myself, like, it was like, and it wasn't even like I went out and seeked help, because that wouldn't be me. So, which is funny about me saying that, is that I think she offered, and it was just like, it was just amazing. And it's like, that's how things start to line up when you truly live in your imagination. But at the time, you're not thinking of it like that. But now that you capture that, it's even crazier. But to touch on this math thing again, because there's a second one, and I would say this is even cooler than how that happened. So during high school, there was a test. And what's insane is when these tests would come, and I would do this before any test, and this is like in Shadow Corp's video too. I was one of the people who never needed to study a test, and I would always pass. And sometimes I would pass with flying colors. Like, I never needed to study. And the thing is I was so hard stuck in that belief in my imagination and creating that it worked out for me. And I've always heard peers around me talk about, like, are you going to study for this? Are you going to do this? And it got so much to the point where see, and it was crazy because I'm such a solo warrior, and I feel like that's how I really built my identity for being able to pass all this stuff. I never got in groups and talked about with people like, oh, we going to study for this tonight? No, I just kept to myself and said, I got this. And it worked out in my favor every single time. And that is the law of assumption. I didn't even realize until, the information comes to you when it's time for you to know, hey, you were doing this. But this is definitely taught to certain people's kids when they're kids. You know it. I'll say, you know what I'm saying. But this is taught to certain people's kids when they're kids, and this is why they're very powerful people. And it is okay how it happened in my life, because it's still a blessing. If it was written, that's how I wanted it to happen, where I didn't learn the law sooner. And I think I learned it at a really, really important part of my life too. But anyways, getting back on track with the math thing. So yeah, the test. There was this one final that they were stressing it, man. They were, if you don't pass this, you might have to repeat the grade. You might have to repeat it. And I was like, shit. Like, you start getting fear. It's like they don't, it's almost like this. They don't mean to make you afraid, but the psychological part going into the test is part of it. It's part of, let's see who's gonna crack. Maybe that's funny enough what they're training kids for. It's like, oh, who's gonna crack, stuff like that. Sorry, quick cut there. But yeah, and I really wonder if that was the test of, like, almost literally testing your willpower to see, okay, who's gonna crack before I know teachers were definitely making a game out of that. A lot of them had them sinister smiles with pop quiz, but we're gonna get into a third assumption too in this video. But the second one, so pretty much there was this final coming up for math. It was like Regents or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was like, I don't know, it was an important test though, and they said if you fail it or whatever, you're gonna repeat the grade, you're gonna repeat the class. I don't know, bro. I love it. So when we went in for this final, I literally filled out the multiple choice part, and then for the part where they got to the end, and I always talk about this, where they got to the longer answers, I didn't fill them out. And there was this other kid, I'm gonna call him N, who was like sitting next to me during the test that we had in the gymnasium. I'm pretty sure they were the finals. And I just looked at him and said, bro, I'm not doing this, bro. I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid to be judged by a number. I think I did enough. I'll pass. And I said someone in the higher up, like, grading my test. And it's crazy how much I lived in my imagination too. I really wrote a sarcastic answer. So if the person is out there who graded my test, maybe they passed away, maybe not. I hope not. Maybe they're still young and kicking. Maybe it truly was just the universe itself just fucking grading the test. But I put a sarcastic answer that I would put, and it like talked about how did this girl and her friend are doing math at the same table. And I was like those memes that you see on the internet. I literally wrote a sarcastic answer. Like, I wrote they had to have gotten the same answer because she just showed her paper. That's literally what I wrote for one of the long answers. And it's not because I didn't know what to do. It's just like I was tired of draining my mind like this. This just felt like mindless robotic work. And I said, you know what? I want to be in a universe where I could write this and pass. And in the moment, right? And I must have truly felt like this would happen. And I remember the feeling of, yeah, someone's going to grade my test and like this and see that I think outside the box. Or it's going to totally fuck up and I'll still laugh about it later. And I took the leap of faith. I took faith. And that's why they say the leap of faith. Because it's your faith. You're leaping into your faith. So I was like, nah, bro, like I'm fucking intelligent. Like this shit doesn't prove anything. And I think I wrote something in the book similar to that. I wrote it on the fucking test booklet. And I handed that shit in. And even the fucking lady grading this shit was like, do you want to fill all, like, any of this out? I said, nah, I'm good. And that is one of the most powerful. That's why I say sometimes that I was much powerful back then. But that's maybe why I didn't know the law. So I was like, yo, I need to put a cap on myself. Who knows? But nonetheless, it's crazy. I did not care about any judgment. Like, I mean, the lady picking up the test, seen the end part, and was like, you know, she kind of gave like a face, like, whoa, like, you didn't fill out the end. And I was like, no, I don't need to. I'm not defined by these fucking numbers. And that's not like, you know, being like, you know, how the generations are getting softer and they don't want to do hard work. Bro, I didn't fall into that line of intelligence. That's not my zone of genius, first of all. And it's like, I'm more like a philosopher in English, which I was slapping in English. I loved English. But math, like, there should just be fucking like schools of magic. Motherfucker, you're in here making potions. You're in the apothecary. You're doing alchemy. You're making, you work with herbs and shit like that. And then over here, you got the people who work with fire and do fire shit. And I'm a fire wizard. This is what we do. And then we all mend together. But to learn 8 fucking different subjects and be versed in all things, like, that's not for everyone. That really isn't. You should be tailored to learning the basics of how everything works. Like, they should have been really training us to survive out there. You know, everybody that I've seen around gets out of high school or college and don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I just think it's so funny, but it's engineered like that. This dream is engineered like that. And that's why I think this dream is engineered like that, to have you think outside of the box. But yeah, and I passed. I passed, bro. I'm telling y'all, that shit is fucking insane. I passed. And I wish I could go back and, like, for this video, act like I'm lying, or have somebody come to this video and be like, this is BS. I wish it could. You literally cannot. And I love that. And I love standing in that. And that may seem like prideful or whatever. Let it feel like that. Because I have doubted myself so many times before. But there were moments in time where I used that power to such an extreme degree where I really feel like it was working for me in the most divine timing of moments because of where my head was at. When I was in school, that was always my mind, bro. It wasn't that I didn't want to work hard. It was that I wanted to work hard at what the fuck I wanted to work hard. I wanted to be a warrior where I wanted to be a warrior. It wasn't like, oh no, like, I can't survive this 9 to 5, like, do that. No, it wasn't that. It was, I'm not fucking working that. But shit, if I gotta be a public speaker, if I gotta shift the world, I'm fucking doing it, man. I do 6 videos. Like, I was literally, some people are asking me, how the fuck do you do that, bro? Like, how are you not dying? No, sometimes when I was doing YouTube on my old channel too, I thought it would kill me. I was doing 6 videos. I was waking up 5 in the morning, going on runs, meditate, which is good for me. I still love the discipline, but that, I'm disciplined, bro. I'm a beast. No one can deny that. But I'm saying, like, there's just certain things that I feel like, yeah, you should stand up and be like, you don't want to do. Not be like, you know, a little pussy about things, but I just think this shit is engineered in a way where they want to keep you from knowing your power, where you naturally fall in life. And that was one of those things. I loved math, but then when I seen that test, I just thought this shit was ridiculous, bro. And I really lived in my imagination. I was like, I'm gonna pass this. And here we are. Now, I would get into a third one, but this shit will turn into a long video, so I'll keep the third one very, 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 very short. But this is a really cool one too. This is a really cool one too. This is the last one I'm gonna get into. It is my teachers that took me out to dinner. Now, I don't believe this for them, and I will always believe this, right? And I think they told me this because they were telling me this for other students, and they said, this isn't like, and I remember, and I'm not gonna I would never say names, but to those teachers, I really, you know what, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure that I do that after this video if I can find them. I need that. I need to do that. That'd be super cool. But yeah, actually, give me a second real quick. Yeah, okay. So I went to my old high school's website, and I wanted to. There's some people that I told them I would contact one day, so I'm gonna get back to them. Nonetheless, that makes me feel good. I'm about to do this, yeah, I just can't wait to share my accomplishments with them. I was a school dude. I always felt in power. I always felt like I wanted to truly own that though. Like, I always describe it of being like a wizard to his books or tending to his like stuff. It's hard to get into. But the third one, pretty much the third and final example, and I have so many more of the law of assumption working though, and I think this tied into the math one, but I can't remember. Oh yeah. Where I was leaving off was the teachers. So I got taken out to dinner by my teachers, and it was fucking awesome. Like, I'm telling you. And okay, so yeah. This wouldn't mess up their job, but one of the teachers that took me out, we got the other teacher to come, and this shit, even thinking about this, almost makes me want to cry because it was so fucking cool. I got to meet a literal, I think he was an ex-Navy admiral, if that's what it was, and they just wanted to be with me and like pick my brain. Now that part sounds scary because it sounds like I'm being evaluated, but no, like when I wrote about the movie Black Panther, and I truly broke it down in my own way, and it made the one woman who was my teacher just like, I don't know, I guess it was something about the writing and even more. But it was funny. I think when I told my stepdad about it, and I could be remembering it wrong, when I told my stepdad and my mom, I think my mom was excited. I don't know if my stepdad was, but that never bothered me that he wasn't really excited for that. To me, I was fucking just so fucking I was like, that is it. That's what I wanted to achieve from school. Shit like that. I wanted to be on the level where we all felt almost like human. Like, I loved literally every teacher I've had. I never had a bad teacher, which goes into another thing with the law of assumption. To me, I'd never had bad teachers. To be fair, even people who perceive certain teachers as bad, I knew it was them in there. I knew at least at a certain level it was perception, and I never went in automatically thinking a teacher was bad. And that's the law of assumption. See, that was it in the works. But yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to happen one day. I was like, I was saying it the whole time when I had the guy teacher who accompanied us, and the teacher who came up with it, her husband, which was the ex-admiral. I was always saying, like, I would go out with this teacher. And funny enough, this was always happening to me throughout my life. In middle school, I had a teacher who passed away who was cool, and I reference him a lot. And he really did see my wisdom when I was much, much younger than when I was in high school. And he invited me over for dinner. And I just think about that, and I was like, wow, like, I was supposed to like one day we sat with each other, and he said, like, maybe one day, it's piecing back to me. Maybe one day that, if there's some time or whatever, like if you're ever coming by like his house, and Like he's talking about his wife, and yeah, it was just like, man. But and it was funny because then much later on that ended up happening, and I thought about it so much before it happened. I was like, wow, I would really like to know this one teacher, the guy who accompanied us, and because man, it just felt like he was super full of wisdom. Like I think at that time, I think me and him literally sat in class one morning because I would get to, or not, well, oh yeah, did I come to him in the morning? I think I did, and then I would go to class. But I sat with him, and we just like were looking out at the clouds and everything, and we just were like saying like things about like, do you think we met in multiple lives? And just, yo, like, bro, like I've always like, damn, man. Oh my gosh, and a really cool friend of me was just talking about this, man. Like saying like I've been manifesting every step of my life. It's insane to think about my experience. It literally feels like a movie, but some of those talks were literally the best talks of my life. And I just hope like they know that I'm honoring them through literally just remembering them, because they were really pivotal moments in my life that made me go, okay, like I know who I am. And I didn't live in the feeling of those things more. As I got older, I let a lot of things that happen around me pull me from actually realizing that no. Though, like, those were the moments, because I went through a lot of like my hard, tough things and some tough like love as that, like through my high school experience. So when I got out, I should have just conquered the world. But I mean, I still had some experiences to go through, which I'm glad that I experienced, which they'll get shared on this channel eventually. But you know, it's crazy, but that's one of the big ones. I was feeling like that would happen, that I wanted to go out with this teacher and just be like just dinner. Like I wanted to have dinner with these teachers, and it ended up happening, and it was fucking so insane. Like, and at every time that I noticed, like I was just thinking about this. It's like magic, but I never knew what it was. I never knew about manifestation, nothing, or at least I didn't have a name for it, which keeps going to, we don't have to label everything. Anyways, much love and moonlight. I'll see you on the next one. And I'm telling y'all, law of assumptions running y'all life. Peace.